Hey guys, so I know I've not been on here for probably 2 weeks, and I was gonna try and be on post at least once a week, and I just have been, well, I'll put it bluntly, I've just been lazy. Between work and my dog and everything and life. That looks really good now that I see what that looks like. My hair doing that. But I figured I would just throw a short story time to you guys. Trying to get some stuff done before I go on vacation this week. So about a month, I think it's about a month now. About a month ago, my boyfriend and I, it was a Friday, because my boyfriend gets off early on Fridays, and I live in a small town. I was actually raised in a small town, but now I live in a different small town, and the similarities sometimes really crack me up. But so I guess when it's nice out on Fridays, they have car shows. And so my boyfriend and I, he got off work. He was like, "Hey, do you want to go up to the car show? Because we like cars." He especially likes old cars, and so there was a lot of older cars, and I like older, Mustangs especially. So we went up there and we decided to take the dog with us because we've really not taken her out on walks and stuff much, and she had just pretty much gotten the okay from the vet to, after being fixed, to start being fully active and everything again. So we were like, we'll take her on the leash and we'll take her up there because it's just on the town square, and took her up there and was walking around looking at cars and stuff. And normally, I have a really big purse, and I keep my keys in. I always keep my keys in my purse and like my phone in my back pocket. And so I decided that I was just gonna take my driver's license because I was driving, and my phone, and the keys, because I was like, I'm gonna take the dog and my big purse while we're walking around outside. And so I just decided that that's what I was gonna do. I was just gonna take that. So we get home, because we were up there for maybe like 20 minutes. By the time we got up there, people were starting to leave. So we just kind of walked around with what was left. And the dog was getting tired because she wasn't used to being walked around a lot. And she was getting all excited with all the people. And so once we made a lap around the square, we decided to come home. So we came home, and me and my boyfriend decided to go get dinner. So we brought the dog in, we took her out to the potty and fed her and put her back in her box to go eat. Well, I came in and I set my keys on the counter because first thing was like, I gotta go to the bathroom before we go eat. So I grab my purse and we go to leave. And I always lock the door behind me. Like, I always just turn the knob, the lock on the knob, and shut the door. I don't ever lock it with my keys since I've lived in this house because it's just easier, I guess. I don't know. But we get outside, and I stop, and I said, "Oh, shit." And my boyfriend's like, "Where are your keys?" And I'm like frantically looking through my purse. It's like, no, there's no way. I've never locked myself out of my house. The one other time I locked myself out, it wasn't actually my fault. Somebody accidentally, it was a sliding glass door, and the bar on the sliding glass door fell, and that's the closest I've been to being locked out of my house. But this was literally, I've locked myself out of the house. My keys are, and since I own my house, there's not a rental office or anybody I can call, like an emergency line, to be like, "Hey, I locked myself out." No. So I actually wore my hair up that day, and I had bobby pins in my hair, and I thought, "Oh, I have bobby pins." Like, I'm thinking like this is a sign that I was meant to wear bobby pins in my hair that day. Like, I never wear bobby pins in my hair. So I was like, "Oh my God, this is a sign that I can get back in this house." I'm sitting there looking up on YouTube how to bobby pin unlock a door. Didn't work. My boyfriend's like trying to put the card in the door. It doesn't work. We tried our back door because sometimes we happen to leave the back door unlocked where we let the dog out because we don't lock our fence. But sometimes we forget to lock the door when we put her up, because we have to, our back door doesn't seal without, like the weather seal doesn't seal well with that unless you lock the deadbolt. So sometimes, I forget. Nope, I remembered that time. So no way in the house. My first thought is, all right, what's more expensive, a door frame or a window? Because a couple years ago, I actually got broke into, and all I had was a deadbolt. And my thought was, how do you put enough force? Because when the people broke in my house, or my apartment at the time, they took the frame off the door where they broke in with the deadbolt locked. And I was like, how do you... And I could see there was a footprint on the door, and I was like, how... It didn't look right. And the officer's like, oh, you stand with your back to the door, and you brace yourself on the frame, and then you kick it, kind of like maybe think of a donkey, like a donkey kick. And he says you can put more force into that way. And so my thought was, I'll do that. And so I tried that. That didn't work. My boyfriend tried. It didn't work. We couldn't get to the steel door. And so my other thought was, I guess we're gonna have to break the windows. And luckily the windows on the back of my house are really old. They're as old as my house. They're pretty much the only windows left on this house that have not been upgraded to double pane. So they're horribly insulated. They're just horrible windows. And it's been on my list to replace those windows at some point anyway. And so my thought was, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to break these windows. And my boyfriend's we're trying, because these windows actually, because you have a lock, usually on the top of a door or a window, and these windows don't. They just have these little latches that you just pull up and then you lift the window. They just kind of hook. And so we're trying to push them, and they won't budge. And my boyfriend's like, can you get through the window over the kitchen sink? He's like, can you fit? Is it too small? Can you fit? And I was like, no, I can fit through that. And he said, well, being the smart man that he is, he's like, and I mean that literally, he's like, because there's two latches on each window. He said one of the latches on that window was not latching anymore. I don't know how it quit latching, or how he knew that it wasn't latching anymore, or just happened to notice it, I guess. He said, if we can pop that other latch, we can get this window open. There's no screens on these windows either, so we didn't have to break a screen or anything. And he's like, well, you'll just have to crawl through that window. Okay, we can try that. We worked for probably 2 hours on this window, wedging it with a shovel. And my biggest fear, my biggest problem was that it was starting to get dark, for one, so we were starting to have to use our phones as flashlights to see. And it seemed like all of my neighbors were in their backyards at this time. And so my thought is, my neighbors are going to see us. It's getting dark. I don't really know my neighbors. They may or may not have seen me out, mowing the yard or whatever, or leaving, whatever. They may or may not know that I live here. They may or may not know I'm the homeowner. And so, I live in a line of houses, so all our backyards are connected. And I'm just, waiting for one of my neighbors to think that I'm not the homeowner and that we're actually breaking in this house. And I'm just every time I heard sirens go off, I was like, oh shit. And my boyfriend's like, oh, well, another thing was, as I took my wallet out of my purse and I stuck it in my glove box. And so, I didn't take my ID out. I just stuck my whole wallet in my glove box. And my boyfriend's like, well, you have your ID, don't you? And I said, because he just assumed that I had my purse. And I said, no, it's in the car. The car is locked. The keys to the car are in the house. And my boyfriend doesn't have, he's got an out-of-state driver's license. He's changed states, and he's just never updated his driver's license. it's a permanent residence somewhere else, but like he knows people that are residents, so he just never changed his driver's license because he didn't want to have to like go through the process of getting a new state license. And so he's like, well, we're screwed if they come, because he's like, I don't have an up-to-date license. Yours is in the car. And he's like, it's fine. We'll just, you know. And so I find myself like saying out loud multiple times, why did I lock the keys in the car? Why did I lock the keys in the house? Or whatever. Like hoping that my neighbors hear me say that, so that they've been like, oh, dumb bitch, locked herself out of the house, and they're having to break in the window. To feel like I'm like covering myself. And so after a while, we finally get this window open with minimal damage. And my boyfriend's like, okay, you gotta, like, I think he was planning like lifting me in and I go head first. And I was like, no, we're not doing this. And I was like, can you not lift me and I'll put my feet in? Oh, wait, I'm not like going head first into the sink. And he's like, no, I can't lift you that high. Like, my boyfriend has a bad back. And he's like, no, I can't lift you that high. And I was like, well, fuck. And so I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to not have to head dive into my window. And so I remember my boyfriend had his table out. He had a folding table out there that he was using to work on in the backyard because he'd do something outside with it. And so I was like, get that table and move it under the window. And, hey, baby, get down. No, get down. Sorry. And so I was like, oh, I'll stand on the table and pull my feet in. And he's like, I don't know if that table, because it's just like a plastic folding table. He's like, I don't know if that table will support your weight or it'll sink into the mud. And I was like, well, just, I'll do it quickly. And I get up on this table and he's like, it's moving. And I was like, hold the table, please. And I finally get in there, finally get my feet in. And I finally get it, yes, hi, baby. I finally get it in there and get in and lock the door. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, I managed to do it without, doing too much damage. So, no. But, yeah. So, that's my story time for you guys. So, I will leave all my social media in the links below. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment on ideas for other videos if you have any. And I will see you all next time. Hopefully I'll post again soon before I go on vacation for you guys. So, see ya.